afternoon. Hi, I'm Francis Farrell, Senior Director of Research and Development at Crillon Clinic, and today I have Maddie Tenzer, who's our Director of our Health Analytics Research Team. She's going to be giving two upcoming lectures on what her team does and how they support research here at Crillon Clinic. Those are part of our research series that have been going on since January. First session will be Tuesday, July 16th at 7 a.m. in Medical Classroom 2. And on Thursday, the following week, July 25th at noon in the 13th floor conference room of RMH. So Maddie, I've got a few questions for you. Most, if not all, projects involve patient data. When should a researcher approach your team?
Preferably as soon as possible. We don't want the researchers to spend a lot of time getting ready for a project that may not be feasible from a data perspective. So we really do want to talk to them about what data aspects they want, if they've got the patient report to do the project, what type of statistics they want. So very early on in the process will be good.
Okay. Should they approach you personally or put in a ticket in Edison? What's the process of approaching your team?
We actually really don't want our researchers to have to deal with Edison, so they can email us at heart@CrillonClinic.org and get help from us that direction, or they can contact us directly. My email, MMPenzer, or Min Wong's MMWong directly.
Are these services free to an employee?
Yes, they're free if there's no funding associated with the project. If somebody's applying for a grant and there's an opportunity to write in our services to the grant so that we can recover some of that, then we do request that. But actually, if they don't have a grant, we still provide the services.
Okay, thank you. And one of the questions we get in the research office is a researcher will say, why can't they just use their clinical data for research purposes?
So it's not recommended because you need to make sure that you have your IRB approval in place in order to use that clinical data. So what we would recommend is for them to go through all of the processes that they should through research and development and through the IRB, and let us put in the request for the data extract, and then we can work with them, and if they already have a clinical report that serves that purpose, we can get that data to them. Often what happens is that the clinical data report is close, but it's not quite what they need for research. And we don't want to make any changes to the clinical report for the purposes of research. So we would make a copy of that report and then run it for the research purpose alone, leaving the clinical one in place.
So Maddie, how do you deliver data to a research team?
Anytime that we have a request for a data extract or a RedCap project, we always set up a secure share drive in Brilliance Network in order to keep the data secure for the project. It's set up specifically for the research team, and then whoever on my team will be supporting the project, and that's where we put the files, is in the secure share drive.
Okay. So if my project's QA/QI, can I use your services?
Absolutely. We support QA/QI as well as research and grants.
Okay. And you're going to go into a lot of detail about our new de-identified database called Trinetics. Is that something the researchers will find easy to use?
Yes, we're very excited about it because it really gives self-service feasibility for researchers to be able to query against encounters, demographics, procedures, diagnoses, medications, labs, and vitals in a very easy format of querying. You can just drag and drop what criteria you want and use time sliders. So it's very easy to use. I'll enjoy it.
Will this replace some of the services that people normally get from your team?
Yes, in the past we frequently have had to spend a lot of time on feasibility projects where we go back and forth trying to identify a patient cohort and the exact codes that would be used. And this allows the researcher to use clinical terms to search for those cohorts and in the end come up with the codes that we'll use directly from there. So it avoids a lot of back and forth with us.
Yeah. For people that won't make the presentation, how can they get access to Trinetics and what approvals are necessary?
So they can email us at heart@CrillonClinic.org and we can send them the Trinetics end user agreement. They have their manager or the director, chair sign off on it. If they are a non-Crillon person, then they would actually go to you, Francis, and have you sign off on the non-Crillon. And then we actually offer training as well as scripts and how to use it.
Okay. And we've had RedCap here, what, 2.5 years, right, Matt?
2017, yes.
Yes. And so if somebody wants to design their own study, can they do that or do you discourage that? What's your thoughts on it?
So we don't discourage it, and it's not necessarily what we think is the best use of a clinician's limited time to do research, so we do most of the build ourselves, but there is the opportunity for them to have access to our test environment. They can build in the test environment, and then we would work with them to move that into our production environment. So we do not use our test environment for production projects, and we go through a very stringent change control process with Technology Services Group to move the projects into production. And the reason is because one project could corrupt everybody else's data also, and by going through change control, we can keep tabs on that and make sure that the project wouldn't do that.
Okay.
And if anything happened, we actually know what project caused it, we can back it out.
Yeah, and one last question. So we've had the research series talking about research and development. We've had the IRB, and now we're doing your team. And the question comes up about QA/QI in the process. Do they need to go through all the normal channels that they do for a research project? How is QA/QI slightly different?
So technically, they don't have to go through the IRB process at all. We recommend that they do, because it's really, most QA/QI projects, the best ones, are structured similarly to research. There may be external people involved, like medical school students. There may need to be some agreements put in place. You may need biostatistics. You still need a secured share drive. You're looking at patient cohorts. You might need REDCap. So for all of that, you want to follow the same process. And also, there's sometimes a gray line between QA/QI and research. So in the very least, we recommend that they go to the IRB and do a QA/QI determination to ensure that it really is QA/QI. You're better off being a little bit more conservative and apply and go for research instead, because then if you turn out as research, you don't have a problem if you went as research, but if you apply to QA/QI and it's research, you may have a problem with publications.
Yeah, thanks. So just to recap, thank you, Maddie, is her sessions will be Tuesday, July 16th at 7 a.m. in the MedEd Classroom 2, and on Thursday, July 25th at 12 noon in the 13th floor conference room of Merck Memorial. Thank you.